Hey there, have you ever heard of a lake just vanishing overnight? No warning, no slow draining, just gone. Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to Lake Riesco, a stunning body of water in southern Chile. One day, it was there. The next, poof, gone. No water, just a dry lake bed. Locals were baffled. Scientists scratched their heads. How could an entire lake disappear so suddenly, with no trace of where the water went? This wasn't some tiny pond. It was a known, stable lake, part of Patagonia's pristine landscape. No signs of slow draining, no warning. So, what could have caused this bizarre disappearance? Underground tunnels? A hidden sinkhole? An angry water god demanding tribute? Stick around, because we're diving into the mystery of Lake Riesco. And trust me, it only gets weirder from here. All right, before we unravel how Lake Riesco disappeared, let's take a step back. Where was this lake, and why was it so important? Lake Riesco was nestled deep in southern Chile, in the heart of Patagonia, a postcard-perfect lake surrounded by thick forests and towering mountains. This wasn't some tiny puddle. It was a stable freshwater lake, home to fish, birds, and a crucial part of the local ecosystem. And it wasn't just wildlife that relied on it. The lake played a role in the local economy, supporting fishing, tourism, and nearby communities. But Patagonia isn't just beautiful. It's geologically restless. This region is shaped by powerful natural forces, from shifting tectonic plates to ancient glaciers. Glaciers carved this land over thousands of years, leaving behind valleys, rivers, and of course lakes like Riesco. But the ground here is anything but stable. Patagonia is also no stranger to earthquakes. This region sits along the South American tectonic plate, making seismic activity a regular guest. So, we had a beautiful, stable lake in a region full of powerful natural forces. But did those forces have something to do with its sudden disappearance? That's what we're about to find out. Because when a lake vanishes overnight, there's got to be an explanation. Let's dive into the theories. Now, here's where things get really strange. Imagine waking up, walking to the shore of a lake you've known your whole life, and finding nothing but mud and a few puddles. That's exactly what happened in early 2016. Lake Riesco was just gone. Word spread fast. Photos and videos flooded social media. The once blue waters were replaced by a desolate, muddy wasteland. No one had seen anything like it before. Locals and scientists rushed to the scene. The ground was still damp, but there were no signs of massive flooding, no river carrying the water away. It was as if the lake had been drained straight into the earth. And here's the real kicker. There was no record of a major storm, earthquake, or any other obvious disaster before the lake vanished. It was as if the water had simply disappeared without a trace. A missing lake, no clear explanation. This was quickly becoming one of Patagonia's greatest natural mysteries. And the big question remained, where did all that water go? To find out, we need to dig deeper into the possible causes. All right, time to crack this case wide open. If the lake didn't flow out as a river, maybe it went down, straight into the ground. And that brings us to our first suspect, underground drainage. Patagonia sits on some seriously porous ground. Beneath the surface, hidden channels and caverns can form, just waiting for the right moment to suck up an entire lake. This kind of thing is known as a karst system, nature's version of pulling the plug in a bathtub. Water finds cracks, slips through, and suddenly, whoosh, it's gone! Geologists think that's exactly what happened to Lake Riesco. A hidden crack, a sudden collapse, and the lake's water vanished into the underground drainage system like a magic trick. Except with no applause? Just confusion. But why now? If the lake had been there for ages, what changed? Well, underground rock formations aren't exactly stable. Over time, erosion can make them weaker until, boom, they collapse. So, did Lake Riesco fall victim to an underground sinkhole? It's a strong possibility. But is it the only explanation? Not so fast. There's another force of nature we need to consider. All right. We've explored the idea of the lake vanishing underground. But what if something shook things up? Literally. Time to talk about earthquakes and climate change. Patagonia isn't just about breathtaking landscapes. It's also one of the most geologically active places on Earth. This land is constantly shifting under the influence of tectonic forces. Frequent small earthquakes rattle this region all the time. They might not knock down buildings, but they can shift underground channels. Could a tremor have opened up a hidden drain beneath the lake? It sounds like a solid theory, except for one little problem. When scientists checked the records, there were no major quakes near the lake when it disappeared. If seismic activity played a role, it must have been something much smaller and slower. So, if earthquakes didn't do it, what about climate change? Patagonia's climate is shifting, with less rainfall and warmer temperatures. Could the lake have simply dried up over time? The problem? Lake Riesco didn't shrink slowly. It vanished overnight. Climate change is real, but it doesn't work like flipping a switch. So, neither earthquakes nor climate change fully explain the mystery. Something else must have happened, and we're not done investigating yet. Alright, so Lake Riesco vanished overnight. Totally baffling. But here's the thing, it's not the first lake to pull this disappearing act. In fact, this has happened before in some pretty unexpected places. Let's take a quick tour of other lakes that have mysteriously vanished. First up, Lake Cache 2 in Chile. Back in 2008, this glacial lake vanished in just hours. The culprit? A hidden tunnel in the ice that suddenly opened up, sending the water rushing away like someone pulled the drain plug. Now let's head to Siberia, where entire lakes have disappeared because of permafrost melting. As the frozen ground warms up, underground ice turns to water, creating hidden sinkholes that swallow lakes whole. Nature's version of a trapdoor. So what do these cases tell us? Lakes can vanish fast, and it's often nature, not magic, behind the mystery. Could something similar explain what happened to Lake Riesco? Well, we're getting closer to an answer. All right, we've explored the theories, the science, and the mystery. But now it's time for the final chapter. What's happened to Lake Riesco since that bizarre disappearance? Well, here's the thing. It's not completely gone. Over time, some water has returned, but it's not the same lake it used to be. The ecosystem that once thrived here, it's struggling to recover. Scientists have been keeping a close eye on the area, trying to understand what really happened. They're studying the geology, water flow, and underground structures to see if the lake might fully return, or if it's permanently changed. This event is a reminder of just how alive our planet really is. Earth is constantly shifting, reshaping, and, sometimes, swallowing entire lakes. It's a powerful, unpredictable system, and we're still learning its secrets. And that's why we love these mysteries. If you enjoyed unraveling this one, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us bring you more wild stories of our ever-changing planet. And, who knows, maybe the next mystery will be even stranger. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think really happened to Lake Riesco? Have you ever seen a place change dramatically in your lifetime? Drop a comment below, we can't wait to read your theories.